So what we wanted to do was bring a combination of the philosophy of the Lowcountry, the lifestyle of the Lowcountry, and the real estate of the Lowcountry.
To be raw, you're coming here to refire, re-engage, get revigorated, and live a life that you've been wanting to live.
Welcome to Real Talk Hilton Head with David and Dale Cross, the real estate lifestyle podcast of Coastal Carolina.
Join us as we share stories from our community, insight into the local lifestyle, and the real scoop on real estate.
From market trends to home design, we dive deep into what it means to live and thrive here.
Discover the state of mind and philosophy of the Lowcountry that enriches life through personal growth, health and wellness, and human connection.
Whether you're a local or thinking of becoming one, we're here to guide you through the ins and outs of living this coastal escape.
Tune in, relax, and enjoy the conversation with Real Talk Hilton Head,
the podcast of Coastal Carolina.
This episode is brought to you by the David Dale team, powered by eXp Realty in Hilton Head.
Welcome to Real Talk Hilton Head, where real estate meets lifestyle, with your hosts, David and Dale Cross.
Well, we are finally sitting in our studio. Boom!
Episode one of
Yes.
Real Talk Hilton Head,
Very exciting.
which the listeners and watchers will soon find out has been a long road coming.
It has.
You
It
know,
has been a long vision of yours. I'm so excited that we're finally here and Real Talk is birthed, and we can't wait to share it with everybody.
I agree
So
with you. Yeah.
Why
I
don't
mean,
you explain why and what Real Talk is?
what Real Talk is.
Yeah.
So that's a good place to start. So hang in there, listeners. We're going to get to it. Real Talk Hilton Head, where real estate meets lifestyle. And essentially the whole premise of the podcast was we have collectively been in the real estate industry, if you will, for 25 years now, since the late 90s. And in that journey and in that process, we've learned that it's never just about a house. Because there's human beings involved and there's lives involved.
There's emotions involved.
Emotions and dreams and life. Life is involved.
This is the biggest asset most people will own in their lives. So
It is.
Yeah.
And so the concept that really hit me was, especially where we live, Hilton Head, it's such a lifestyle driven place, and dealing with so many home buyers, relocation. Obviously, that was where we really have our main connection in the beginning was helping people relocate. Was, we wanted to touch on not just, hey, 10 houses sold last week, the average price went up 5%, all that stuff. That's stuff you can get anywhere.
That's not evergreen. That's, that's date specific.
Exactly. So what we wanted to do was bring a combination of the philosophy of the Lowcountry, the lifestyle of the Lowcountry, and the real estate of the Lowcountry. And what I mean by the philosophy of the Lowcountry and the lifestyle, philosophically, I give an example would be people come here, they're looking for a lifestyle, and a lot of them are looking, for things that are deeper and meaningful, almost spiritual in a way.
A lot of people don't know sorry to interject, but they don't even know what they're looking for when they come here. They're drawn to the area for some reason, but have no idea.
That's exactly right.
So yes, continue with the philosophy.
Yeah. So the philosophy of the Lowcountry, the lifestyle of the Lowcountry, and the real estate of the Lowcountry, that philosophical aspect, what we wanted to bring was like, hey, you're not just getting a house, you're getting a life. And what we want to do, you and I are very much into the philosophical aspects, which we're going to dive into. We're very much into the lifestyle aspects, whether it's the physical fitness, the health and wellness, and all those things. And we're always pushing the envelope to see what we maximize life, right? And so we thought, well, what if we can bring all those components? Because everybody's searching, right? We know, they're out there. If you found this podcast or found this YouTube channel, you are on a quest looking for information, you're looking for guidance, you're looking for insight, you're looking for insider knowledge. And so we thought, well, I thought at least, what if we put this together into a long format that wasn't, it's not about selling somebody a house or, being in sales. This is about helping people in their journey, in their life, find it. And so that's really kind of what the premise
And
is.
I think the other part of it is we were you looking for it.
Yeah.
We have been on this journey And we're excited to share what we found on the other end, and just all the adventures, all the offshoots we've had along the way. And we're still on a journey. We're still learning.
And that's the key.
Always. I
think that would be, if we're going to be the Pied Piper and the messenger here, it's that, especially when you move here, we get a lot of retirees, right? Yep. And what do we call it? Refirement. You're not retiring, you're refiring.
You're not coming to Hilton Head as to die. Basically,
that's
not
exactly
to be
right.
raw. You're coming here to refire, re-engage, get revigorated, and live a life that you've been wanting to live while you've been working all those years. That's why you work those years.
Yeah.
But it's not just that. Yeah. It's now younger people are being drawn to the area. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were drawn here because we wanted our kids to have a certain lifestyle. Yeah. We wanted them to be a little insulated in a smaller community, enjoy the beautiful outdoors. So that's changing. It's not just retirees as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is really for everybody because, we have a saying, live life now live life different. And that can be a 15-year-old or a 75-year-old, right? And it's really about an approach. So that's what we really want to bring with this podcast is we want to help create the imagination. We want to help create the connections. We want to help, deliver the guidance. And we are pioneers, we're explorers, and what Real Talk Hilton Head is now we're reporters.
Exactly.
Here's what we've discovered.
This is what we've discovered on the journey. I'm so excited.
I am very excited. Yeah. And what I love is, again, this isn't just a normal real estate podcast. So anybody who's watching out there or listening.
Just really want to emphasize that.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're listening to the podcast, we are also filming it. It's on our YouTube channel. You can also find it at realtalkhhi.com, the videos. But, we can go so many places with this, and we can deepen it and widen it and go so many offshoots, and yet it all will still tie back to, if you're looking for a house, whether to buy or sell, and the marketplace and getting the knowledge and the information you need, you're going to find that here, but it's going to be so much more. It is a deep well, and we could just go on for years and years. And what we want is, one, like, share, subscribe, join the community and be a part of this community. We are building this from the ground up. If you're here, this is the first episode. Join us on this journey, be a part of it, and let's do this together, and let's do this part of life together. We're very excited about it.
And if there's things that interest you that you want to hear us talk about, we're open to that as well. We would love your feedback. Send us things that would be interesting.
Questions. What are you curious about? What do you want to know more about? What guests would you want to have on? And wait till you see the guests that we have coming up in this first season one. It's going to be a great.
So that's about Real Talk, right? What people can expect moving forward into the next future seasons. Hopefully there'll be a lot of them.
Yeah. Should we also talk about that we do have a real estate team too? Because we might want to mention that, right?
Yes. Obviously, David and I are real estate agents here in the Hilton Head area. Our team is the David Dale team.
The David Dale.
We're powered by eXp Realty.
And so like I said, we've had a 25-year history in real estate. So essentially, that is what we do. That is our core business. That's our core function right now. And so, it is a separate component from Real Talk, but it is what's really the foundation of what we're trying to do here is help people buy and sell real estate in the Lowcountry and get this lifestyle. But, the David Dale team, we are also here for you for that. So if you have questions specific to that, we're available too.
I think, again, to the point of why Real Talk, because we have forged this road, this path before you had. We know what it's like. You get nervous, you get scared. Am I making the right decision? What is this area like? Will I like it? So I think we have a passion. You'll find out we have a big passion for this area. It's kind of one of those places where you just know. You just know. So
it's a different place. We've lived in 6, 7 cities.
Yep. Well, we'll get there.
By far and away, though, this place is one that you really need a guide on the ground. This is a very different place than what most people are used to.
And that's what we're hoping to share. What are the things that we've discovered on our trip here? Because there is a philosophy to this island. It is a mystical place.
Mm-hmm.
The real estate is very different than other places, depending on the lifestyle that you want to live. So hopefully you're getting the themes.
It's tied together.
Kind of tied together, hence why it's born.
Yeah.
So did you want to add any more to that?
No, I think that's good. I think, maybe, where do we go from here? Do you want to go back?
I think that we should go backwards and kind of explain our history and where we came from.
Ooh, how far back are we going to go?
Well, I know people are going to ask, where's that accent from?
Okay. And it is the accent.
I'll give you 3 guesses. That's how I start with everybody who asks.
And it's not Kentucky?
It's not Kentucky.
Okay, because that's usually my first guess.
It's England, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa.
Right.
But it's none of them. None of the above. So I'm actually from Zimbabwe, Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Born and raised. So I'll start with my side of the story.
Yeah,
and then
go for it.
We'll move on. Yeah. I was 18 years old and I got a tennis scholarship to come and play tennis here in the U.S. Probably one of the best things I ever did.
I like to think of as an answered prayer for David, but that's
a whole nother topic. I did save him. I am his angel. I'm just kidding. My journey to the United States started when I was 18. Never been out of Africa. 18-year-old with one suitcase.
And big visions.
Big visions. Well, what's funny is I wasn't nervous or anything. I just wanted to play tennis. I had such a vision of tennis. That was my passion. That's all I wanted to do.
Sort of still is.
It is kind of.
Yeah, a little bit. We'll get to that.
But yeah, so me and my suitcase arrived in Florence, South Carolina in 1996, a long time ago.
Uh-oh.
I know, I'm dating myself.
Don't ask the age.
Calculated. But yeah, and went to school for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
In Francis Marion University.
Which is here in South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Actually about, 2.5 hours from where we are?
Yeah, 2.5 hours. And I actually go back there every now and again to play in tournaments, which is a lot of fun to go back. And anyway, we digress. But yeah, so that's where my journey started. Do you want to start your journey and then we'll...
Yeah, well, I'm an Ohio boy from a town, if anybody can pronounce it. It's Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, which is by Akron. It's north of Akron, south of Cleveland. And I was on vacation with some friends. Random vacation. Actually, good friend of ours actually has a podcast up in Ohio. They're in real estate too. It's called Making Moves. And you guys have to check that out. But Brandon Davis, and that's how we were on vacation at Myrtle Beach.
Yep.
You were out of school for the summer.
Yeah. It was summertime. I was working in Myrtle Beach, in Hollywood.
Yeah.
With a whole bunch of friends, and we met through some mutual friends.
My buddy.
Very random.
Yep. Introduced me to Dale, and 4 days later, we actually got to hang out.
Yeah.
Talk on the beach. I came home, told my mom that I found my spouse. She thought I was crazy after just hanging out for about 5 hours. But I knew that you were my angel. You were my answered prayer. And so that's nothing.
It's teasing.
That's what moms are for. And so, kind of going back to, because this was a key moment.
Yes, this is pivotal in both of our lives.
So you were in college, going after a marketing degree. You had some plans. You probably were going to go back, actually, to Africa or England or wherever you were going to be. And I was in the mortgage business at the time and was just taking over a branch. I was the manager of the branch. And I remember you moving to Ohio. I had relocated to Columbus, Ohio for an opportunity to manage that branch. And
after I graduated, so I met you my last semester at university.
Exactly right.
And I moved up to Columbus to be with you.
Yeah, so we'll leave out a ton of the details, but long and short, it got to a point where you did do some work, and then I had moved to another company, and I was sort of in the weeds.
Yes.
And you were in between work because of work visas.
Yes.
Like, you couldn't just randomly go and work everywhere. So it was funny because, I'm really good at some things. maybe one or two things. But
a lot of things.
No, but yeah, anyways. But I'm really good at certain aspects of that job, but there's certain aspects that I wasn't great at, and it wasn't my skill set, my strength. And one of them was, I was so busy and I had so many clients and I was working on so many things. And I thought I was organized, and then I needed your help. And you looked at one of my files and I said, can you get whatever it was, I think. And I remember you looked at my file and you're like, what is this?
What are you doing?
And then you cleaned it up, like organized it and handed it back to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, like all my files need to look like this. And you started helping me out. And I went from just this level of productivity to just off the charts. Yeah. Right off the bat, to the point where I remember the branch manager at the time there was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I got some help.
The angel arrived.
And my angel arrived.
I'm just kidding.
And I think that was, I didn't know it at the time. That was the birth of the David Dale team.
It really was. That was the beginning of our journey.
Yeah. That we fit. And, it was so complimentary, and so I remember people thought we were crazy. Oh, you can't work, because we were just dating at the time, and, excuse me. So, so that kind of goes back to how you sort of came into the industry, and we started working together, and I started teaching you because, mortgage financing and real estate are essentially the same thing. We're just, they're symbiotic. Yeah. So you're tightly integrated. You know both sides of it. You know everything about the industry. Yeah. And so I think that was Columbus, Ohio.
Yep, that's where we started.
That's where we started.
Then we eventually left that company and started our own mortgage company.
Figure. We started our
pioneers that we are.
That's what we
entrepreneurs and pioneers that we are. So we started our own company and worked through building it from the ground up.
And you got your real estate license.
I did get my real estate license in Ohio.
So that's sort of where we work together as a team as well. And that kind of continues the integration that we taught. That way we didn't know it at the time, but what we were trying to do was bring a fullness to our services to people. And we eventually built up a mortgage planning team, your real estate team, and part of that team was a
processing team.
And we were bringing in all these components so that we could help somebody all along the way.
Yep.
Right. So it's kind of funny how
we've gone full cycle.
We really have. And it all started off there. And so, during that time, I feel like, we had to grow a lot. Obviously, we grew through the 2008 crash, which was a very big learning experience.
Greatly affected us.
Affected a lot of our clients.
Yeah.
And so I think that journey, was so foundational for where we are today in the sense of the guidance, the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding,
the
experience. We really, really cut our teeth in those early years and learning how to do it. But it also led us, right? Because we were also in a philosophical state, right?
Correct.
Spiritual state, I guess. Not that this isn't a spiritual podcast, right? But if you're listening to this or you're watching this, one thing you're going to realize is it's just who Dale and I are.
Yeah.
It's very much a part of our lives. But we understand everybody's wherever they are, and everybody can be wherever they are.
Well, I think it's part of our lives because we're always pushing the envelope. We're always pushing the edge. We always want to be better than we were yesterday.
That's right.
And in the age of information and technology, you can. Yeah. And I think that's been a big part of our journey is that growth within ourselves, spiritually, physically, it's just
mentally, emotionally.
Yep. It's just all part of who we are.
Yeah. Yeah. We
like to share it from how do I say share it? When people come to us, they have different needs and different stages of their life.
That's right.
And I think it's very helpful.
Yeah.
Coming from that aspect.
Well, I agree. And I think because again, that ties into, right? Because part of that portion of our life where we grew, we were always involved in leadership, whether it was at church and, eventually I wrote a book, a spiritual book, Finding Freedom. And we were always, again, helping guide people and lead them. Now that was on that component.
And meeting them where they were at.
Meeting them where they're at and they would come to us. So our desire has always been to forge ahead.
Yep.
Grow experience it, find out what worked, what didn't work, and really sort of keep a record of that. And then we want to give that,
help grow other people in their experience and their adventure.
Exactly.
And I think in the history of the 25 years that we've been doing this together, the amount of lives we've touched and the honor we've had to see people on their journey. Because it's not just about us. It's about, all right, you're in this place. How can I help you? And see you meet your potential or start your growth. I think that's what I really love about this journey that we've had together. And along the way, there's just been a ton of amazing people that we've met and a ton of really cool adventures and stories. So we were in Ohio for 10 years. And
but the whole time,
itching.
We would see 77 and we'd be like, we just want to
just go. Just jump, just go. Spontaneous like that. We just wanted to get on the road and come. Actually, one year we did come on vacation. Remember, we came to Myrtle Beach and it was a 7-day trip that we planned. How long did we stay for?
22 days.
We kept calling his boss and saying, we'll be back. We'll be back. Came back.
We just didn't want to come home. I remember that. We'd do it every year. We'd come down Myrtle, and it was always such a fun
We hated it
trip.
when we had to leave, too. It was just like, oh, no.
And the winters were rough on you.
Yes.
You were not used to the gray skies, the length of the winters.
The depth of that cloud.
So arduous. You're right. It's real. And so, but the good news is 2008, while it was I think if we would have continued, because we had a very successful business. If the crash didn't happen, I feel like we probably would have stayed in the house because the business was doing so well. But 2008 created this moment where sort of everything in our world just shut down.
It was another pivotal point. When we met, it was pivotal. That was a pivotal point, and we had decisions to make. We saw an opportunity. It was a risky opportunity. Well, it was risky in that we were leaving family, we were leaving friends, everything we had known. But it was an opportunity and something that we had desired and really imagined, right?
That's true.
When it comes down to philosophy,
remember all my maps? And you talk about imagination. There's the power to imagination because it comes through your will, right? And I used to have all those maps of the South.
David loves maps. If there's one thing you'll learn about him, he loves maps.
I love maps. I have something about a visual, overhead. But I, remember we were constantly looking at places in the South. And then all of a sudden, the opportunity to come to Charlotte
came to me,
which is still one of my favorite times. And
we actually lived in Charlotte for 10 years.
That was 10 years.
That's our next migration.
All right, we're staying in Hilton Head beyond 10.
Yes, I think we found our spot.
Yeah, I do.
No, but what that leads me to is when we were in Charlotte, we had our oldest son, who's Asher. You'll get to meet him. He's now 16, but we had him there. And that was a little bit of touch and go. Moving to a new area. It was a big city, but we found
again another place where we grew a lot.
We did.
We grew a lot in, I think we've become more whole in the growth, right? We're learning, it's just all business, because when we were in the business, I mean, all entrepreneurs, right? You're kind of sort of.
We had no children either.
Yeah, that's
so that
true.
was a big thing. When
learning
we moved, you had to balance work and family. And that's one thing David and I are very, very big on. Is you only have these children for X amount of years. And you're growing them up to being responsible adults. Hope and pray.
All going to work out.
No, it'll be fine. But our priorities shifted in Charlotte from what they were in Columbus to Charlotte.
That's right.
But we had a lot of adventures in Charlotte. I started, because of the crash, I started working for Wells Fargo. And I was doing short sale negotiation. And that was definitely eye-opening. Was there for a couple years and then moved into the front end. So kind of stayed in mortgages. Worked for some really great companies on the front end of mortgages originating. And that's kind of where my journey took me into managing a team.
You were at a very high level there at that bank and did a lot of stuff on the back end.
On the back end.
Yeah, on the back end. And I think, that's a great point Because when people, and this kind of goes back to the real estate side of things, the real estate team, if you're listening to the podcast, obviously, I'm going to diverge into the David Dale real estate team. Mm-hmm. That is invaluable experience in the sense
I would love every minute of it.
And what we know on the back end, what we know about the analytics, what we know about what people are looking at in the macro side of things, and also how to deal with it if somebody is financing. But we can speak to a lot of things in this industry.
We understand how it works because we were in it for so many years.
Exactly right. Yeah. So we did the Charlotte thing, and at the time, so let's talk about this journey, because this is what this is. This is our journey, right, to this low country lifestyle. We were always still going to Myrtle.
Yes.
And again, if you've never been to South Carolina, Myrtle Beach and Hilton Head are really
two different animals.
It might as well be two different countries, really. The only thing they share in common, the only thing they share is the coast. That's about it, in the ocean. And I remember when we were looking at buying a second home, and we were considering here or there, and we talked to an agent here at the time, and she's like, "Oh, like, you can't even compare the two." And I was like, "Oh, well, that sounded snobby." But she was right. She was 100% right. And what I didn't know is I didn't know. And that Myrtle, has its place. It's great.
I think what's great about Myrtle, it's a southern city, but it's more commercial. Hilton Head's not a commercial. It has its commercial aspects, but it's not as commercial and as busy. Myrtle Beach is more entertainment, whereas Hilton Head's more relaxation.
That's right. Yeah. Myrtle Beach is all designed around, just go, getting you out. You've got all sorts of things to do, being entertained, and here people come and chill. And, they get 22 million visitors a year. We get 3. Yeah. So they're getting 7 times the amount of visitors. But getting back to it, so we are going there all the time. And then in 2014, Shiloh's born.
Yes.
Our other son, our youngest son. And we, for Mother's Day, he was about probably 10, 12 weeks old. Oh my gosh,
yeah. If that.
Yeah.
I think as soon as he was able, like 8 weeks, to go out and not get sick, we were gone.
Yeah.
And just to add to it, because I know where you're going with this, we not only did we go to Myrtle Beach, we were always searching.
Yeah.
We have always been searching for place that we connected with. Even in Ohio, on a Sunday afternoon, we'd jump in the car and go and cruise. We'd go to the south of Ohio. I mean, we would drive for hours.
We would. We'd go 3 hours one way and 3 hours back. And that was our Sunday.
That was just what we've always done, is explored. But we did that when we were in Charlotte. We were always up in the mountains. We were always up north, in North Carolina. Always looking for that place. Greenville. We were in Greenville, Columbia. Always hunting and searching. So to continue with your story.
And I think, and that's a great point, is that, and the reason why I say that is somebody who's out there listening, that quest that you're on, that thing that's in you that's not satisfied, is like, there's something there. You've got to keep, if it's tickling you, you got to follow it. You got to trust it, because and Charlotte is one of my favorite cities. Like, that. I love Charlotte. Like, we go back all the time. I absolutely it was like a perfect city in a way. I mean, it was just big enough and it had everything, but still small enough, centrally located. So there was no reason to be dissatisfied yet.
We didn't feel like home.
Didn't feel like home. So Shiloh's born 2014, Mother's Day weekend. We come down and what's this at work?
Small friends.
We have
good friends from
Shout
Ohio.
out to Margaret Alicia in Ohio. Yes, good friends from Columbus, Ohio. They're still up in Ohio. They went to
Hilton Head. She said, "Oh, we're coming down to Sea Pines in Hilton Head." We were like, "Sea Pines? Hilton Head?
Yeah.
What are you?" I'd never heard of it before.
And they raved about their time and just how they loved it and said, "We need to go." So we're like, you know what? Let's go check out Hilton Head.
Let's go check it out.
Yep. And so I still remember getting off at that Kasawuchi.
Kuchawachi.
Can I talk to people about
Yes, you can.
All right. So So
I teed you up.
yeah, he sure did. So there's this thing that endears Dale to me and myself is that I call it Daleism. So she has this thing where once she gets a pronunciation of something in her head, it's just forever that way. So what do you call it?
Watchy.
Sometimes I can't remember the Daleisms, but so every now and again you might get that, right? So you might.
If I say something strange, just say, that's a
Daleism.
All right,
so
that's good. I see what David means because it will happen.
Yeah,
it happens.
maybe we can train an editor to catch it and put up a Daleism definition, up for the video watchers at least. But
anyway, I still don't know how to say that exit. What is it? Kuchawachi?
No, it's Kusawachi.
Okay.
I believe, right?
Kuchawachi.
Somebody's going to correct me. I guarantee it.
See, I confused
some
him.
true Southerner will be like, no, bro, that's not how you say it. But I remember getting off that exit, and the first thing that struck me was obviously how beautiful, like you knew you were in a different place, right? The
Spanish moss.
Oh,
the trees over the road. I mean, when you turn off and you just see the trees over the road and then the Spanish moss, we both looked at each other and were like, whoa, where are we?
I mean, this is like a different place. And then you start smelling the pluff mud and the ocean and, you're just in the marsh and you're like, wow. And then we rolled down the windows and the air was hitting. It was like May.
Well, you're going kind of fast. When we went over the bridge for the first time, we came through Bluffton, which is a really beautiful little town. We came through the first bridge. We literally looked at each other and put the window down, and that's when we got the pluff muds.
Yeah.
We're like, well, what is that? Okay, I kind of like it.
Yeah.
And then go over the second bridge, which is even higher, and you just see the water and the oyster beds. And all the islands, the oyster islands.
Yeah.
It was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Where are we?
It was a different place.
Yep.
No, and I just remember thinking to myself, like, this is what they mean by the low country.
Yep.
Like you hear the term, because that's the other thing. If you're not from here, South Carolina has 5 zones. You got the coastal zone, sandhills, Piedmont, foothills and mountains. And so you're sitting there, you hear high country, you hear the Piedmont, you hear all these terms, you're like trying to figure out what they mean. And then you hear low country all the time, and then you get, this is what they mean. Yep. This is the low country.
Spanish moss is the hallmark, and the live oaks.
And the marsh.
Yeah. And all that first time we came, we kind of fell in love with it.
Oh, it was immediate for me personally. It was like, I'm a beach guy, number one. You know that. We're water people. I need the water. I'm an Aquarius. So it's like, water. I have to live near water. And I just remember how it looked so different than Myrtle.
Yeah.
It was so
everything was hidden.
Manicured, hidden. It's all the things that you're going to hear in the podcast when we interview people, that what we all fall in love with the same thing.
Similar things. Yeah.
Similar things. But I knew at that time, I was like, oh my gosh, like,
this is different.
This is different. And this is it. And so that was 2014. So it was still 4 years
before we moved. So we had our first trip. We were like, oh, I love it. And then just couldn't wait to get back here. Yep. I mean, we were here every 8 weeks. It was ridiculous.
6 to 8 weeks, yeah.
6 to 8 weeks. We just couldn't get enough. Yeah. And thank goodness we only lived 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
3 hours.
We were it was all random stuff. Like, hey, you want to go to the beach?
Well, it was Christmas one day. Well, one year. Yes. Was it 2015 Christmas?
It was 15 or 16? No, it was 16, I think. Yeah.
We were sitting on our back porch in Charlotte, and we looked at the boys' presents were open. And David,
it was a beautiful day. It was like 75.
He was like, "Do you want to go to the beach?" We're like, "Yes, let's go to the beach." Boys, pack up your suitcases. And our kids are so used to that. Yeah. That was nothing new for them.
We were packed in like an hour.
Everyone knew what they needed to do and packed their stuff and off to the beach we went.
Yeah. We booked a hotel.
Just called our name always.
Yeah, it never stopped.
Yeah. So that led us to how we came to the decision to move. So my sister was celebrating her 50th birthday, and my family all came over from England, and we rented a big house in Sea Pines, and everyone was together, and David and I sitting in the hot tub, we kind of
I disagree on this story.
on this part of the story.
But I'm going to defer to your version.
My version's correct.
All right, you tell your version, and I'm going to tell my version, and we'll see. And tell us which version you like better.
Mine, of course.
Go ahead, tell your version.
Yeah. So my version is we're sitting in the hot tub overlooking the marsh, and it was just such a beautiful evening. And we'd never really been on the marsh before.
Yeah, that's true.
It's usually on the ocean or on the beach.
Oceanfront, yeah.
And just seeing the activity of the wildlife. I mean, and firstly, the tides coming in and out, and how much life is brought in with the tides. Yeah. I mean, we went crabbing right off of our dock. I mean, we went kayaking right off our docks. Yeah, fishing. How many fish?
Caught my first redfish right there on that dock.
So delicious, right?
And your brother ate them before. We went out. He's out grilling them. He's like, "Man, those were good." I'm like, "I caught those." Did you see, baby?
And we crabbed.
Yeah.
We had a good time crabbing.
She crab soup. We had she crab soup.
Yeah. But just seeing all the egrets, the birds, you just don't realize how much life is coming in and out of the marsh. Yeah. So I think we knew we loved Hilton Head, but that was the solidifying moment. And we're sitting in the hot tub, and I looked at Dave, and I'm like, why don't we live here? Why are we not here?
See, she says the hot tub. Here's my version.
All right,
we're going to rewind the scene. Yes, on the marsh. Yes, to all that stuff. I had tied up a hammock between two trees. And every night, because it was western facing, so it would be the sunset over the marsh.
Okay.
And Baynard Cove was where we're at. And you can look it up. Baynard Cove is like
it's beautiful.
Primo spot. And we would sit out there with our wine, swinging in the hammock together. No, I remember it because I distinctly remember it was either me asking you or asking me that.
I think it was as you thought, because there's many times that you will think a thought and then I'm meant to telepathically pull it out of your brain and say, okay, because sometimes I do pull it out of your brain. But I think that's so I have a theory. You thought it, then I said it in the hot tub.
There you go. And that's why we're the David Dale team.
There you go.
Right there it is. I telepathically communicate. Dale expresses it.
I express it out.
See, that's a power couple right there. That's who you want to be working with. Well, either way.
Yes, we were in
But we would sit in that hammock, though.
Yes, we did.
At the sunset.
Do not deny. And
with our vino.
When we made the actual decision, is debatable, but we did make the decision that trip. We actually went out looking for houses.
Well, yeah, because it was. But let's break it down though. That was the trip where we had this immersion experience. It was like baptism into the Lowcountry, where we were fishing off the dock, crabbing off the dock, kayaking,
riding our bikes
everywhere, going down playing at the beach. Just getting out. And you just being out all the time, walking around in just shorts all the time, and just the breeze, and you were like, "Oh my gosh, this is living!" You just felt alive. Now, granted, we're on vacation, but you're still it's different. If I'm at home, on vacation or whatever, it still wouldn't be like this, right? And so you're right. That was a moment, and it was either you asked me or one of us asked, "Why do we live in Charlotte?"
Yeah,
and I had no answer because we were there circumstantially. And again, I could say we were led there, right?
Yeah.
From our desires and our imagination as a staging ground. And then now this door was there because it was we had the opportunity working from home.
Opportunities presented themselves for us to move here.
Yep. And we started looking around.
Yep. So we started looking at houses. My family thought we were absolutely nuts.
Where are you guys going? We're going to go look around. Well, it was funny. Yeah. So it was funny because it wasn't, because we went, that was a 4 or 5 day period. And we went back and we had our house.
We had our house on the market the next week.
Being that we're real estate agents,
yeah,
that was easy.
was in real estate in Charlotte anyway. And I think that's something else I said to you.
Yeah.
Do you want to do real estate in Charlotte or do you want to do real estate in Hilton Head?
No brainer.
No brainer.
Real Estate Hilton Head. I mean, come on.
It's beautiful homes.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous homes.
Well, and just everything. What I think it is too is
I think it's real estate. Anyway.
Yeah, well, it's DNA. Like there's something in your DNA. And that's what I kept saying was something in my DNA jumped. Something came alive within me. And it was like the first time in my life where I was like, it's like when I met you, honestly. When I left the beach, I was like, I found my girl. Yeah. Well, when I left this coastline, I was like, we found our place. We found our spot.
And I think that was just one of those pivotal moments again, like we talked about when we met, when we left Columbus.
Yeah.
And then when we found Hilton Head.
It was a big decision. It's 2018. Sitting in a hot tub or a hammock.
Did you catch that?
Pick your story. Whichever one.
It's better.
It's like the multiple endings, alternate ending. So that was a big deal because we were like, and I think too, a lot of it had to do with the age of the kids.
Yes.
They were at a good age where it's like either we do it now or we don't. And hopefully this is resonating with somebody who's out there, like, right, who's wondering, should they do this? Should they, they might be in a different stage, might not have kids, but if that bug is there and that thing is there and you feel the moment, you've got to just go for it.
And be excited. Don't be scared.
Yeah.
Don't be scared.
It's an adventure.
That's how we have always looked at life. Yeah. Life is an adventure. You live it once.
Yeah.
Do it. What's the worst? That's what we said. What's the worst?
We'll go back to Charlotte. That's exactly what we said to each other.
We just move on. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, I agree. There's a great unfolding. And again, that's going to get into the philosophical side. Huh. When we do these shows on that, we're going to talk about that because that's what we've learned, right? It's not about, hey, I want to put an offer in. Hey, I got a mortgage. But it's like, I've got all this stuff going on inside of me.
Correct.
Right. And that can get worked through, but it is a perspective thing. And I think our perspective was like, wow, let's just go for it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Right.
And I will say it's the best go for, see what happens.
Oh my gosh.
It's changed our lives. Absolutely, in ways that we will go into and explain. It's changed our children's lives. I couldn't imagine raising them differently than what we've done now, because raising them on the island has been very fruitful, and I wouldn't want to have done it any other way.
I agree.
And we're still doing it, obviously.
But it's 10x every aspect of our life.
Yeah.
It has
amplified. 10x, is that what you mean by 10x?
Yeah.
Amplified.
10x, yeah.
Okay. I'm just learning.
10x, baby. Grant Cardone. Just kidding. So going back to our journey. So we go back.
Yes.
We pack up. We sell the house quick. Mm-hmm. We left an acre and a quarter.
So we were here in August, visiting, made the decision. We were back in Hilton Head by December living.
Yeah.
That's how quickly.
Right after Thanksgiving.
Right. Yeah.
To Ohio for Thanksgiving.
And then
came back and moved here.
Yeah. So that's how we ended up on the island.
Do you miss our chickens that we had?
Yes and no.
I loved our chickens.
Dave, all right. Do I share the story?
Oh, go ahead.
David doesn't do anything by half measure. Let's put it that way.
Go big or go home.
That's right. Usually when you have chickens, you have a couple chickens. We ended up with like 12 or 14 chickens, which is fine. We were going to make a small cage for them. Coop. That's what I was looking for the word. Coop.
No, we actually bought a coop.
To start with, but then you created the Taj Mahal.
I had to protect them.
Chicken coops.
They were my chickens.
Literally, this thing was so big. Well, we had the Taj Mahal because we had to have it in pieces that if we were to move, that we could take pieces down and
modular.
take the chicken. Okay. All right, whatever. I'm from Africa. I know these words.
Yes.
Anyway, the story is David loved his chickens. They had a Taj Mahal that was movable and could go wherever we could go.
Which we ended up leaving it. You can't have chickens on Hilton Head. So if you want to bring your chickens, you got to leave them behind. Sorry.
But I do miss the fresh eggs, if that's yours.
The fresh eggs, yeah.
And Ash, that was actually, we're diverting, but last story, and then we'll get back to it. But Ash's first business, or first lesson in entrepreneurship. We're very big on teaching our kids real life lessons. So his first entrepreneur endeavor was Asher Eggs.
Yeah.
He would get the eggs, and he would go around the neighborhood on his bike and sell them. And then he learned his first lesson in customer service.
Yes, he did.
He took some eggs that he did not clean to one of his clients, and they were not happy with him and nearly didn't buy.
Well, they actually stopped.
Did they stop buying?
And he couldn't figure out why.
Okay.
And so I said, well, you need to go find out why, which he did not want to do. I said, you need to go, you lost a customer. You need to go up there and find out what you did wrong and fix it. And she told him, dirty eggs. I don't do dirty eggs. So he's like, what do I do? I said, well, you give them some complimentary eggs until they come back. And he did that, and they finally came back. But yeah, he had a cute little logo, little cartons, all that.
Yeah.
But
so
anyways,
we digress.
Yeah, no. So we leave all that behind. We come here and just immerse ourselves, right?
Yes, in the lifestyle.
Dive right in and start knowing nobody, having no clients, not knowing anything, right, about the area. Exactly. So say that because when you're talking to a realtor and, and you're thinking about coming here, that you want to know, we've done it.
Yep.
Like we are you. Yeah. Like we just dove right in, we did it, we figured it out. But first thing we figured out was that it's a very different place.
Yes, it is.
So talk to me about, what was your thought process when we first got here?
When you're coming to a place like this, you need to understand, hence why it's real estate meets lifestyle, the lifestyle of the community, the culture of the community. When you come, the island, 70% is behind gates?
Probably. It's a 70 square mile island, and the vast majority of it is behind gates, and it's sort of hidden unless you have access, which, half of the north half of the island, there's no short-term rentals. So,
wait a second. So, that was quickly what we learned. We knew when we moved here, we didn't want to be on the south end of the island.
Yeah.
Because that's where a lot of the rentals are, a lot of tourists. That's the main tourist spot. And then you have Mid Island, and then you have North Island. Mm-hmm. And everyone kept telling us you need to be on the north end. That's where the schools are. That's where all the kids are, because that's what we were looking for our family. Yeah. So that's what led us to be on the north end of the island.
Yeah.
And then we quickly discovered what the different communities represented. So not represented, but the personality of each community. Each community, once you get into it, has its own personality and its own lifestyle. So before you make a decision on a house, you need to figure out, what is the lifestyle? Why am I moving to Hilton Head? Right. What is it that I'm looking for?
Yeah, 1,000%. And I think that's kind of where we coined that phrase, right? The right house in the wrong area is the wrong house.
Say that again.
The right house in the wrong area is always going to be the wrong house. And
you'll hear a lot of these sayings. Live life now, live life different.
That's right. So, and I think that's a very important point to touch on, was we had to quickly find out that, there's all these different ownership, equity communities and the golfing communities and, water, if you had like say you've got a yacht or a boat or something and you want to have a marina. You want a marina in your community, type stuff. And
some communities have the boat right outside the house.
Exactly right. Yeah. So, there's a lot to it. And then obviously learning about Bluffton, off island, the history.
Because there is a difference. Oh. You before you even decide your community, if you're on Hilton Head, you got to back it out even further.
Right.
Am I an off island or an on island person?
Yeah.
What am I looking for? And there's differences in that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, and go a step further, right? Beaufort County, north of the Broad, south of the Broad.
Yep.
Savannah, is that an option? Which is, as the crow flies, you can see it from the, the Colorado Sound, heading over to Foskey, so it's like they're all so close, but you're right. They're all different.
Very different.
Beaufort is a totally different day-to-day life than, say, Bluffton, and Bluffton versus Hilton Head versus Savannah. And so we quickly learned, that we moved to a totally different area than Charlotte. That's for sure.
Very diverse.
Very diverse,
Based on your interest.
Yeah.
But So obviously that's where we come in, and we can help you, guide you in that, collapse your learning curve, basically, because we've learned it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Lowcountry. What is it that made you so passionate about the Lowcountry? Give me.
Oh, that's such a good, great, deep
explain
question.
why we love it so much.
Well, okay. So I'm going to kind of flip in and out of here. Well, one, geographically, I just love the subtropical aspect.
Yeah.
You know, we go to Florida a lot. It's a couple hours down the road, actually. Jacksonville's 2.5 hours from us. But Florida's just distinctly different.
It is.
In so many ways, especially the weather. But then you got Charlotte, 3.5 hours north, and its weather patterns are different. You know, we're kind of in this like little perfect zone, you know, where you get just enough of winter. Like today, you know, we're filming this in winter, right?
Yeah.
It's like 67 degrees. It's like perfect. We just came from 26 in Ohio, right? A week ago. You know, Thanksgiving. And so you sit there. So I love that aspect of just, it's a subtropical place. I love the beaches here, the ocean, because this ocean is a very gentle ocean. It's a beautiful ocean. And it just, there's a sort of a vibration to it for me personally that puts me at peace. It really gives me just a sense of freedom and a sense of joy. But that hits me because I'm an ocean guy, right? And a beach guy. But then I think the surprising part for me was the community.
Yeah.
You know, it's always hard to meet new people.
Especially when you come in.
Yeah. And, you know, and you typically do it through work or church or, you know, something like that. But I found here, it was like, we have connected to a lot of amazing people, very diverse range.
Group.
Yeah. You know, you got people 20 years younger than us, 20 years older than us. And the people have been wonderful. Like, I really enjoy the people here.
There's a close-knitness.
There is.
And then Adeleism nearly came out.
Good day.
I've invented a new word.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a close-knitness between the different groups of people. So it depends on what your interests are. I know with my tennis group, there's a close-knitness. There's all the children's families. There's a close-knitness, you know. Yeah. Then you also come to people that have been here for a long time.
Yeah. They
love this island. Yeah. This is a precious island. And there is concern that there's too many people coming. And that's one thing that people are very avid of, is keeping the island, and not changing it.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah. The personality of it.
The personality.
I think, well, the good news is there's nowhere to grow here. So like, you know, there's only so many houses here anyway. So, you know, it's like Bitcoin, you better get a piece now because they're not making it anymore. But yeah, so, I mean, I think it was that in the pace of life.
Yeah. What do we call this place?
The slow country.
So we've got a funny story about that too. If you're coming and you want things to be fast, this isn't the place for you. Yeah. Even our first taste of it was in a Josie Mike's or a Subway. It was a Subway.
Yeah, we were heading out and I was hungry. And I was like, hey, I'm going to pop in and grab a sub real quick. And it was me and one other person in line, 4 people working. And it took me like 25 or 30 minutes to get out of that store. I remember I was like, oh my gosh. You know, coming from Charlotte where everybody just...
But I think with the slow nature comes friendliness as well.
Yeah.
So what do you want?
Yeah.
Do you want to be insignificant to somebody, or do you want somebody to smile at you?
Yeah.
You know, which is, you can't have, here comes the dinner.
There it is.
You know,
they're popping. Boom, boom, boom.
You can't have your cake and eat it too. I got that right.
Yeah.
I was going to say you can't have a cup of tea and sugar too. That doesn't quite work.
I actually have sugar in my tea, but anyways, it's called sweet tea actually. So, no, I think that's a good point. Is if you're going to move to this area and from somewhere else, and let's face it, the vast majority of people that are moving are probably going to be, you know, in an age group, you know, that's a little older. Because just the nature, we are a retirement area. Although with remote work, with, a lot of other things, you're seeing a different segment of population migrating for sure. But you do yourself well to embrace what it is and not try to come and change what it is. You have to immerse and kind of give yourself over to this is a low country lifestyle. Yeah. That's why we say we're real estate meets lifestyle. You want to come and buy a house, you want to be near the beach, but you got to embrace the lifestyle.
Everything.
It is. You got to take it all in. But if you do, it's profoundly touching. It changes you, and it really, makes life just, I don't know, worthwhile. There's something different about it. And it hits the people that hit it, right?
You'll know it's home if it hits you in your DNA.
Yeah.
I hear you telling that to clients. And that was going to be the next thing. We talk about activities that we like to do here.
Well, so save that for the episodes.
Oh.
I don't know. What do you think?
We're talking about our passion for the Low Country. What are the things we like about it? I'll talk about one thing and then that's it.
I know what you're talking about. Talk to me about it.
So the first time we went on a boat and got off and saw Hilton Head from the water versus the land.
Yeah.
I just think that was also a pivotal moment where I fell in love with this area even more, because seeing Hilton Head or the land from the water is completely different.
I agree.
Than being on it. So if you're coming to visit, I would highly recommend getting on a boat, getting on a ferry, and going and exploring the waterways, because we have so many waterways that you don't have to go in the ocean. You don't. I mean,
we have the intercoastal. Yeah,
exactly.
You can take the intercoastal. Like one of my favorite things to do is we jump on the boat and we go over to Beaufort and go grab dinner.
That's what we do sometimes.
And they go dock up downtown Beaufort and then boat back and then come back home,
Or we'll take the day and we'll go over to Defusky.
Yeah.
And park the boat on Defusky.
That's another episode.
The playground. Yep. And we get a golf cart and go drive around the island, because you can only drive, there's few cars, but most of it's golf cart access.
You can go up to the May River in Bluffton.
Yep. Just sneak peeks of what's
We don't give
episodes,
because these are going to be topics in our episodes. So
you was just talking about why we love the Low Country and things, why we've settled in and it's become home, because this is our journey home. And I know you feel the same. We pretty much found home.
For me personally, I've found, everybody else who retires here, I wake up every day. The first thing I do is I'm grateful I woke up. Okay, thank you. Got another shot at this. And then I literally pinch myself that I get to live here, work here, raise our children here, build community years, hopefully of long relationships, and get to do it now. It's definitely, I can't imagine living anywhere else. And we go away, right? We go away, and what's the first thing we do? We come back from the airport, we hit the bridge, we're like,
we're home. Even the children do it now.
Oh, they do.
Appreciate it. I mean, when they first came, they didn't appreciate it. But now, recent trips that we've left, they're like, I'm so glad to be home. Yeah. This is home.
And I think that's the other thing, too, I want to kind of touch base on, I think, on this is I do love, because there's the adventure side of us. Yeah. And, the fact that we could go to Atlanta, we just went and saw the Steelers play in Atlanta.
Yep.
Right? 4.5 hours, big city. We go and play. Charlotte, which we love to do. We get the boat out up there. Jacksonville, Orlando, Charleston. One of our Myrtle, Columbia, and the fact that Greenville, the mountains. I mean, skiing. That it's this place where you're not in the middle. When we hear clients come and they're looking all over the place, they'll find that beautiful island somewhere, but it's in the middle of nowhere. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. I love that here, we could take a day trip to Charleston, just go up, hang out, and you're in this beautiful southern city. You could go down to Jacksonville, big city, go see a football game, do whatever, and be right back. Yeah. You got the whole Georgia coastline, which is some beautiful barrier islands. And so I think the location of it too, the convenience, you got two major airports, you got the Charleston airport's only 2 hours away as well if you needed different flights. So that's another thing I love. And I'm like, it literally for me is perfect.
It is.
It's like the perfect place, So, but yeah, and so what else do we want to talk about here on this in our journey home as the inaugural episode? Anything you want to leave?
Touched on a lot. We don't want to give away too much.
Yes, that's true.
Future episodes. I mean, what would you say in closing?
Well, what I would say in closing is what I hope anybody who finds this and listens to it, and if they've made it this far, God bless you.
Yeah.
But I would say, if you're one of those people who's on a quest and you're trying to find that place, if the ocean is anything, that you love, and it's the mountains too, because we're so close to the mountains.
Yeah.
I mean, we're.
That would be more the ocean.
It would be more the ocean, but the ability to get to the mountains. But if you're looking for that place where you can have a full life, a whole life, and I'm here. Join us on this journey and come back and come and listen, because we're going to have stories from those locals who grew up here. We're going to have stories from those people who have quested and looked, and this was the place they found, and all the stuff they went through and the obstacles and what they had to overcome. We're going to share the stories from the business owners, the entrepreneurs, from the practitioners, from the health and wellness side. I mean, everything. And
we're going to share communities.
I mean, because that's the other thing. Yeah. I mean, the communities themselves, that's a whole other world. But what I would just leave with people is that what we want to really be is a resource. We want to be a guide. We want to have fun, and we want to pull you into the life that you really want to live, and then help you and guide you and launch you into this low country lifestyle.
Yeah.
And
if it's right for you.
If it's right for you.
It'll resonate.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And I think you'll know. Like if you're listening this far, you probably are really curious anyways, right? And that Dale and I, we want to be a part of it, and that we're building a team here for you, really. And this show is for you. This isn't for us. This is and we want to highlight this community and share all these wonderful people and their stories and build it for them.
Yeah.
So that they have a place to shine and a platform to shine. And, but we need your help to do it. We need your help to like, share, subscribe, get the word out there, join our Facebook community group, go to our YouTube and subscribe there, and just keep coming back. But, the Low Country is a fascinating place. You're going to find out a lot that's going on, all the festivals, all the events, everything, and events, the culture, and the history. And Real Talk Hilton Head.
We just want to really share this special place with you. So if this is a place that you're going to call home, we would love to be part of that journey along with you. And if we are, we would love to hear about it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So, well, there you have it. First one's in the book.
Yes.
Well done. So we're excited. So, hey, thank you for listening. Just be sure to check back for the next episodes, because we're going to be running it every week. Yeah. And there's going to be lots of surprises. Season 1's going to be epic. Yeah. And we just look forward to this journey with you. And remember, Real Talk Hilton Head, where real estate meets lifestyle.
Hair and makeup for this episode brought to you by Salon Celeste, where style meets sophistication.
Let Victoria Gonzalez
create a confident, radiant look with an expert cut, stunning color, or the perfect blowout. Book your appointment today.
Don't forget to follow, like, share, and subscribe to Real Talk Hilton Head, and leave us a review to help others discover the Low Country lifestyle.